So, you've decided to get your first job, but first you need to write a resume. And you're wondering, what do employers actually look for? What kind of information do I need to provide on my resume? Remember that the purpose of a resume is to convey that you're employable and appropriately skilled, and your experiences and features about you make you a good fit for their organisation to fulfill a certain role. You can think about your resume as having this following structure: your contact details, key skills that you possess, information about your education and achievements, attributes and experiences that make you employable, and referees. You need to tell your potential employer who you are and how to contact you. Firstly, you need to put your name on it. You probably don't have to include any middle names if you don't want to, but you can. It's up to you. You can include your address, but nowadays usually just your email address is enough. Just make sure your email address is appropriate, so maybe not the one you made when you were like 10. Your email address at your school is appropriate, or you may like to take this opportunity to create an email address with your name or something along those lines. Lastly, you need to provide a phone number, which can be your home phone number, but your mobile number is usually best. Particularly if you're not including a cover letter, you may like to start with an opening statement before listing your key skills, which should just be 1 to 3 sentences about why you're applying for the position and why you're best suited for it. Maybe you've recently seen the position advertised, or something else inspired you to apply there. Research where you're applying and see how they describe themselves. If they seem to pride themselves on, say, customer service, maybe include a statement that you recognise their excellence in customer service and that you would like to contribute to it. To figure out what your key skills actually are, think about how you are in your day-to-day life, and don't be afraid to ask others for suggestions. I would recommend listing a minimum of 3 things and a maximum of 10. Sometimes less is more, and if you list too many things, they become kind of meaningless. Don't be afraid to make a larger list and then cut it down. If it's something that you may need to do, consider also stating that you're comfortable learning about new technologies, or that you're confident in using certain programs and softwares. The next section should be about your education and achievements, which you can put under the one heading or separate them out. Again, it's up to you. There are a few different ways that you could set this section out, but definitely start by saying what school you go to and what year level you're in. When listing your achievements, order them from most to least recent. And don't worry too much if you don't feel like you have much to list here. Obviously, you should put down any awards that you've won, but you can put down other things, like attendance or a grade or exam mark you're particularly proud of. Maybe you've played in a sports team, or made the school production, or taken music lessons. Think of things you've participated in, like fun runs, homework clubs, athletics day, or school buddy programs. You can combine your personal attributes and experience, especially if you don't have any professional work experience yet. List between 3 and 5 points about yourself, but try not to repeat the exact same words you used in your key skills section. State the attribute, and then write a sentence or 2 on how you've demonstrated it. Maybe you've made it to the next division for a sport, and by attending all before school trainings, you've demonstrated that you're reliable. By doing your best to be a positive role model for younger students during occasions like literacy or community days, you've shown that you're responsible. Maybe being in the school production allowed you to work on your teamwork skills. If you've done fundraisers before, you've demonstrated that you're trustworthy enough to handle money. If you're friendly and can get on with anybody, you'd be well suited for customer service. You need to finish off with 2 or 3 referees, who are people that your potential employer can refer to ask what you're like. Always ask your referee first. If your potential employer calls them and your referee is surprised or isn't prepared, it doesn't look great on you. Teachers are an obvious choice, but also consider coaches, tutors, maybe a leader at your church, or club leaders. I should also mention that before you ask these people, do be prepared for them to say no. Maybe they've got a lot on right now, or they just feel they wouldn't be the best person. If you're late all the time and they're asked if you're punctual, you can't expect them to say yes. When you do find suitable referees, list their name, how they know you, what workplace they're part of, and how to contact them. Email and a mobile number, or either one of these is appropriate. With so many different ways that you can format your resume, Make sure you Google some samples online to get an idea of how you'd like to set yours out. They can also be a good guide on how to word things. Make sure you actually proofread your resume, checking not just for spelling, but also things like using a consistent font and that your contact details are actually correct. If possible, have someone else look over it too. Going away and doing something else, then coming back to proofread your resume is usually most effective. Another thing you might want to think about is going and checking your online presence. Pretty much any potential employer will Google you before they hire you, so make sure they don't get the wrong idea. Something you should never do for obvious reasons is lie on your resume, or be too vague. Also, don't put down relatives as referees. Whether they should be or not, they may not be taken seriously. Don't use quirky fonts like Comic Sans, and avoid using informal language. Remember, you want to come across as professional. Happy resume writing! Until next time, stay awesome!